Hello everybody and welcome to yet another Brit and Yankee Instant Brew Review. And I'm very happy to say that I'm back in the pub. I'm Phil Clark, the Brit, and with me is my co-host for the day, Mr. Ken McMullen, who is the brewmaster from Hotline Brewing in Aurora, Illinois. Hello, Ken.
How you doing, Phil?
Now, wait a minute, aren't you supposed to say Buenos Dias? Haven't you made that your trademark?
I don't know.
Okay, let's do that again. Hello, Ken.
Buenos dias, Phil.
Buenos dias, Senor McMullen.
I don't know. You gave me a warm-up Mexican lager there, so.
Oh, I did give you one. Yes, we had a calibration brew of a warm-up Mexican lager. Yes, from Black and Grey Brewing. I'll give them a ding. There we go. Shut up. A small ding. Right. So today on Instant Brew Review, we are going to be looking at mild ale, a style which is, well, not so popular in the USA, but there've been a lot of ones that have come out recently. It was very popular back when I was growing up in England, and I have a couple of examples of that here. I have one which is called Cane's Dark Mild. I'm just going to show the camera there. There we go. I think you got that. That came from Liverpool. And another one, Thwaites, who was a Yorkshire brewer. And I think we got that there. There we go. And they did a dark mild as well. Both of these are dark milds. And the description that Thwaites has, it's kind of interesting on here. It says, delicious, dark and bittersweet with a rich, nutty finish. Now, have you ever had a proper English mild? From England?
I don't think so. No.
That'll be a no then. So I'm going to get these out of the way. We have examples of 3 beers that 2 are local to the Chicagoland area. 1 is not. This one here in this rather large container, and there's a story behind that, comes from art history. This is a proper English mild, as they call it. This one in the can comes from local brewer D&G, and this is actually our outlier for today. This is a pale mild. So instead of being dark, pale. We'll see the difference when we pour. And then from our neighbor state, Iowa, we have one that comes from Torrent Brewing Company, and it is called Glenda, an English mild. Story behind that. So we're kind of sandwiching the pale with a couple of darks. Or would you like to start with a dark?
I'd probably rather start with the pale.
Start with the pale. All right, good man. I'm going to put the big one out of the way just temporarily here. So it's out of shot. I hope it's out of shot. And we're going to go with the pale mild. Now this one comes from good friends of ours in St. Charles, Illinois, D&G Brewing. The brewer there is Alex Dreyer. And I went in when I knew he had a mild and I said, Alex, you're doing a mild. I love milds. I grew up on milds. And when he poured it, I was surprised because all my grow-up beers were dark milds. So I'm going to crack this open. Now we're in a crowler. I'm going to show you the crowler. There we go. And I'm going to have to stand up here to crack it open. And I don't have a pour camera specifically, Ken. So here we go. While I'm doing this, what do you know about mild ale?
You know, I learned something today. I thought milds were supposed to be dark brown beers, but it turns out it's just the style description.
Hold that. I've buggered up the pour, as you can see.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Real big head. Okay, carry on, Ken.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can rescue that for you.
No, I always thought milds were supposed to be darker beers, but it turns out that they just covered in the style description, they covered dark milds, but a lighter, and the room for interpretation of a mild is broad, but it's mainly a malt-focused beer, maybe a little bit of yeast character, but you should not really perceive much hop character out of it, other than balancing bitterness. Mainly it's about the malt.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Your message coming in from Mark.
My apologies for turning my ringer down.
It's about the malt.
It's about, this beer is mainly about the malt. And also alcohol level. It's very light.
Very light.
Pintable, is that the word?
Exactly. And you know what? The beers that I showed you earlier, both of those were 3.2%. This is something that you get flavor from, but without the alcohol, but with a little kick. So 7 or 8 pints later, you may be down on your ass. But so anyway, let's look at this one. What do you think about the aroma here? Now I've given you a slightly better pour. You've got a nice head. I got a bit of a thick head, so yeah.
I kind of let it.
Thick head.
I kind of let it sit, and what happens sometimes you get the aroma dissipates, and then the head it acts like a barrier to releasing more aroma. So I'm getting mainly sweet, mainly toasted malt.
Mm-hmm. And I looked at this and I said, this is actually not necessarily a pale mild. This is more of a dark pale mild.
Yeah.
But it's an attractive beer, and this one comes in at 4.6.
Yeah, so it's on the high side for a mild.
On the high side. Now, according to style guidelines, I think you can go up that high.
It says
for special occasions or something?
No, it says for like export beer, they push up into the 4s. So
he's going to export. He's exported this mild from St. Charles, Illinois, to West Chicago, which is a neighboring town. So, what do you think on the taste?
I get sweet, kind of caramel malt. Mm-hmm. Mainly just a little bit of toast.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Most of the mild beers that I have drunk in the past have been exactly that. Mild in flavor, nice body, smooth.
Usually you get some like kind of a roast malt, like a brown malt character.
Yeah.
Not getting that. This is more of caramel malt.
Right.
Sweeter.
Right.
Kind of a sweeter malt profile.
I like this. This is I would almost say that this was be an English ale. I think it's carbonated quite highly. Now it came in a crowler, and of course I always have a problem pouring a crowler. You know, it either dribbles over the edge, and you have to be very specific with it. And
it's also impressive that something filled at the tap still is holding carb like this. That's excellent.
Well, and he does go an extra mile to make sure that his crowlers are filled with a little, what is it, CO2?
Probably purges it with CO2.
Purges it with CO2. Yeah. In fact, this is dibs to Gabby, who was the wait staff who filled this at the time. Thank you very much. So, not a bad start for a pale mild.
Nice and clear and
nice and clear.
It's a beautiful beer.
I have to say, I think I've had this for a couple of weeks, and I think it has kind of settled down, and it's quite tasty.
Yeah.
All right. So that's number one. I'm not going to ask you to say which your order of play is for these, but I will ask you which one is your favorite at the end. So, you know, all due respect, but this is great. This is the competition that you brewers crave for,
right? Sure, yes.
Okay.
No, we like collaboration.
We like collaboration. That's what they always say. We collaborate with anybody.
Yeah, right.
Right. I'm going to give a short ding, and we'll take a break. All right, we're back. And we do have a second one, which comes from our neighboring state of Iowa, Ames, Iowa. Is that no, that's not the capital, is it? Cedar Rapids, isn't it? What's the capital of Iowa?
It's Des Moines, isn't it?
Oh, okay, Des Moines. Okay, well, this is from Ames, Iowa. This is from a brewery which I couldn't find out too much about, Torrent Brewing Company in Ames, Iowa. A friend of mine went there and really enjoyed all the beers, had some great ones there. Saw the English mild, said, do you want some? I said, yes, please. So here we have a pint of Glenda. Now, I'm going to show the camera here. I wondered what Glenda actually was, because in England there is a very famous actress back in, I don't know if she's still alive, but back in the 70s and 80s, Glenda Jackson. She played Queen Elizabeth in a award-winning series on the BBC.
Neat.
But Glenda is not named after Glenda Jackson. Shall I open it and tell you the story?
Please.
This is a dark mild, so we'll find out how this pours. Let me see. Okay, there we go. We've got it open without too much trouble. See if I can pour this on camera. Oh, hello. It's a little darker, but it's not a dark mild. Now, I've only got a pint of this, so I'm going to be very careful how I mete this out. Now, as I said, I can't... There we go. Oh, it's not too bad. That's quite a nice looking beverage. I think that's pretty good. I can't tell you much about Torrent Brewing Company, other than the fact that it is started by a home brewer by the name of Andy McCormick. And I don't know, McCormick sounds like it could be slightly Scottish, but anyway, since his first batch, things have gone well and things have taken off, and apparently he's doing okay. So well done. Must be a local Iowa brewery. Now this one is definitely a dark mild. It doesn't have a lot of carbonation as opposed to the last one, right? Mm-hmm. Any differences in the aroma?
Yeah, I definitely get darker malt in the aroma.
Yeah, there's
very
not a lot
sweet.
Though,
it's very sweet, almost like a wort sweet.
Okay.
Aroma.
Well, let's give it a taste.
It's kind of like brown sugar.
Ooh, I don't know if brown sugar is part of the mild, but
well, I know, but I mean.
Mm. Mm. Well, that has a very interesting flavor. And brown sugar is right there. That comes to mind. There's something else in there.
Definitely has a very sweet character, but it's also, I'm getting the dark malt mixed in with it. I wonder if we're getting some diacetyl in there. That's
really? I don't necessarily get that.
No.
Now we have to say, in all fairness to Torrent Brewing, I mean, when you get something from Iowa and you bring it back in your car and you've got it in a can like this, you know, there could be all sorts of things that go on with it. I'm not getting anything that's an off flavor specifically. I'm just getting a lot of sweetness. Very mild flavors all round. A little bit of darkness. Not a lot of carbonation. That said, it's not a bad pint.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not like, so I get a little more sugar sweetness than I would anticipate.
Yeah.
And it kind of disrupts the malt. I can tell the dark malt is in there.
Right.
But the sugar, the sweet flavor is kind of dominating it.
Well, let me tell you why it's called Glenda. To give dibs to Glenda, who apparently is an expat Brit. She comes from Cambridge in the UK, and she is a local celebrity around Ames, Iowa. And her stories, according to a Facebook post, are amazing. She's also adopted, as we record this, it's the final of the NCAA March Madness. You're off to watch that, right?
I'm heading home to watch it.
Now, is that football?
No.
I don't know. I don't watch. It's basketball. I know it's basketball.
College basketball.
And anyway, Glenda has adopted the Cyclones, who are the Iowa State men's basketball team. I don't know. Were they in the NCAA? I don't think so, right?
I think they were this year.
They were? They obviously didn't make the final.
I don't pay that much attention, but I did see the North Carolina Duke game, and it was amazing, and it convinced me I should watch this.
Okay,
tonight.
Well then there you go. Well, we've got to hurry up and drink up then. I think this is quite nice. I'd like to have it on draft. I mean, this is essentially on draft, but and they filled it, I guess, at the tap, and that was it.
Okay, that's how we're doing it at Hop Finding. We do 12 and 16 ounce cans like this, and we call them.
Okay.
They're just small crowlers.
Right. Exactly.
But that would explain the carb level being low.
Okay. Because it's
hard to keep it in there.
And is that if you don't purge it with that CO2?
If you don't purge it with CO2, you're going to get oxidation pretty quickly.
There's no oxidation in this, but there's also not a lot of carbonation at the end of this. So I'd like to try more from Torrent Brewing. So
it's interesting. I'd like to try it fresh.
Yeah.
Not in a can.
Exactly. Right, we're on to the third one, which is in another weird container, and hopefully this works out. Story on that coming up. Give it a ding, shall I?
Yes.
We're back for beer number 3. Ken, are you still with me?
Yes.
Good man. This one comes in a rather interesting container, and there's a story to that. So this is one of my bottles of beer that I collected over the years that I can reuse with the flip top, a la Grolsch. If you remember the, I think it's a Dutch lager.
Grolsch. German, isn't it?
Nah, I don't think so. Anyway, another story. This one comes from Art History Brewing in Geneva, Illinois. It is also in the Fox River Valley, as is D&G, and they have created a Midlands Mild. Now, the brewer is Greg Brown, and apparently he went, I don't know if he went or if somebody else went, but they managed to get yeast from the Midlands, a very famous brewery in the Midlands, and this is how they brewed this beer. How they get it, I don't know. This is what you brewers do. You just subterfuge and all over the place. Now, it's in this container because this beer currently is on a hand pull cask or firkin, whatever you want to call it, only. So if you go to the brewery, you will see they will pull you a pint of this, and they have on the end of the engine, the beer engine, they have something called a sparkler. Now, what does a sparkler do?
A sparkler is plastic. It screws on. It's got little holes, and it knocks CO2 out of solution and creates a nice foamy head.
Okay, and indeed it does. To put it into my bottle, they had to take the sparkler off and pull it. So I'm not certain how this is going to come out. If it doesn't have carbonation, that's okay, because this is a naturally carbonated beer. Let me see if I can open this properly. What do you think? Here we go.
Oh, there was a...
now there wasn't a foof.
There was a little.
Was a little foof?
Yeah, okay. I even saw a little bit of a cloud.
So we'll see if we can pour this here for the camera and see how this comes out.
Grolsch is Dutch.
Oh, Dutch. Okay, what did I say?
I think that's what you said.
Okay, I did. Now, if you're looking at that, that basically has a natural carbonation head to it. If you were having real ale in England, then you may get something that's like that. Whether or not that is reflected in the carbonation in the beer, I don't know. I'm going to give you that one.
That was your glass.
Oh, that was my glass. Oh yeah, I don't want his glass. He's got cooties. Let's pour this one again.
Yeah,
now,
I think you're seeing the effect of pouring it out of
one of these,
out of a cask,
yep,
and then trying to preserve it.
Yep, there we go.
Because out of the cask, you get a nice head on it. It's not flat beer. It's carbonated. It's just a smooth, mellow carbonation. So you can tell that's, you know.
Now the color, this is definitely a dark mild.
Now the aroma is like fresh malt.
The aroma is fresh malt.
Yeah.
Now this one is about 1% lower. It's 3.8, I think it is. And yeah, fantastic. Now, Ken, in your days in the past, you did a cask event, a pop-up event, if you will.
Yeah. Where
you had firkins from a lot of breweries, and they would be on hand pull or engine or gravity, if you will.
Yeah, it started, I mean, my fascination with cask beer started at
over there out in your picture,
at the Real Ale Fest, and I think it was 1998 in Westmont. Ray Daniels put that on. But then we did the Midwest Brewers Fest in Plainfield, and I ran the cask tent, and I sourced cask beers from breweries that weren't doing cask beers. We'd bring them a firkin and have them fill it. And then we started the Firkery, where we're doing like mini real ale pop-ups. Okay. So it was like a little cask ale fest, but only like 4 to 6 beers. Right. But that's what you're talking about. And we've got 3 beer engines we do that on, and we might fire that up again this summer.
Great. Well, this has come out of a cask hand pull and doesn't have the sparkler on it. This was just for the purposes of this video. I have to say that they did not give this to me. I paid for it. I want to make that clear.
I was with you. I had
you
one.
You were with me at the time.
I had one right off.
Yep, absolutely. So, in all fairness to Torrent and to D&G, this is a completely different type of beer. What about the flavor?
It's just fresh dark malt. It's toasty and roasty, and that's the dominant. It's a slight sweetness, but it's like malt sweetness. It's not cloying.
And I think this, as it is if you were to describe this to someone, they would say this was the flat, warm beer of England. Which it's not really flat. It does. I mean, look at it. It does have. If you wiggle it around a little bit, you're going to get some carbonation in there. It's pretty not much.
It's pretty flat.
Yeah.
I
guess.
I mean,
I'm trying to look it up here.
There's no way you could avoid that really, but they did a great job trying to get this to us, and it tastes clean. It's not.
Yeah. As to the flavor, I mean, the color is like a dark ruby.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. I guess. I mean, it's a red mahogany, if anything. But the flavor and the mouthfeel, it's very smooth. I mean, I could just drink this down just like that.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Much better with a little head on it, definitely.
Yeah.
But
no, it's delicious.
Anyway, we have explored 3 different types of milds. I think that we've had a pale, we've had 2 darks. I think this has been the darkest of the 2.
Yeah.
In your opinion, which one would you want to try again? Which one is your favorite?
I'd like to try the Torrent at Torrent.
At Torrent, yeah.
D&G is delicious. I could drink a lot of that. But if I'm going for a mild, I'm going,
Midlands.
This is my favorite.
Midlands mild. Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you. And doing these reviews, it's always very difficult to be fair to each brewer, because really you'd like to have them directly off the taps and go from there. Well,
yeah, the other thing is if you buy growlers or other fills from the tap, drink them right away.
Yep.
Don't sit on those beers.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I think if you've got a crowler, I think you can let that sit, because it's like having a big can. That said, it's still fresh draft beer.
Yeah, and it's still getting more oxidation, more oxygen in there, and the longer it sits, oxygen is what stales a beer, so I would still drink a crowler pretty quick.
Ken, thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil. This is
Cheers. This has been a mild instant brew review. We hope you've enjoyed it.
It's just another manic, mild Monday.
There you go. We are recording this on a Monday, and good luck to whoever is playing in the basketball final. Who is playing? Did you say that?
It's Kansas and North Carolina.
Kansas. Hey, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore.
I'll tell you, Phil, I do appreciate you pouring these milds in a nonic pint glass.
Oh yes, that's right. You kept telling me to tell people we have a nonic. I always like to call this a Mae West glass. If you don't know who Mae West is, Google it. But she was a lady who had a thin bottom down here and had rather a large top up here. So, but this little thing, I'll put it into the camera here. Drop me nuts. There we go. This little thing here, great for holding it with, light glass. And this is a American pint, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's not
cool.
the Imperial, but it's good. It's still
good. Indeed. Well, we'll give a ding to all the milds. We'll be back again with another instant brew review before you can say cheers.
Cheers. Oh, Phil, you got to hold that from the bottom.
Hold the bottom. Oh, much
That's
better.
A little
there we go. That's better. Cheers.
Good job, landlord.
Are we done? Yeah, we're done.
Well, you're done.
Yeah.